So 25%. As I said earlier, 25%, or whenever you see the word percent, that means you're describing the number in relation as a fraction when the denominator is 100. Alright, so simply you just put 25 over 100 to rewrite a percent as a fraction. So any percent that you, if you want to change a percent to a fraction, you just put the number over 100. So another one would be 5%. That would be 5 over 100. 5%. And these, of course, can reduce. This reduces to 1/4, and this one reduces to 1/20. All right. We also can change these to decimals. So if you're going to take a percent and change it to a decimal, you simply take the decimal point and move it 2 places to the left. Okay? So I'm going to take it 2 places to the left, so that's going to be 0.25. 5%, this is where you're going to use that placeholder 0. So you're moving the decimal point 2 places to the left. You're going to need to add a 0 there. So the decimal version of 5% is 0.05. 5/100ths. Alright, the next example we're going to do is taking 75% and changing it to a fraction. If I can fix my pen cap really quick. 75% is, as a fraction, first thing you need is a fraction bar. Since it's percent, we're always comparing it to 100. So 100 should be your denominator, and 75 should be your numerator. So this is 75/100ths. Alright, then you can reduce this if you divide top and bottom by the greatest common factor, which is 25. You're going to get 3/4. And you should pretty much memorize it. 75% is 3/4. Probably by this point in the class, I've probably passed out a sheet with common fractions, decimals, and percents that you should memorize the conversion for. Right away, you should know 75% is 3/4. So if you got a 75% on a test, that means you got 3/4 of the problem right. Or for every 4 problems you completed, you got 3 correct. Alright, let's do a couple. Alright, so the next problem I wanted to talk about is what is 75% of 20? And remember, the word of in math means multiply. Alright, so we're going to take 75% and we're going to multiply it by 20. Remember, percent as a decimal, you got to move the point 2 places to the left. So 1, 2, decimals right there. Okay? And let's multiply it. Now that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is take the fraction, which we already know 75% is 3/4, and multiply that by 20. Okay? There's 2 different ways to get the same answer. Math starts to become artistic when there's multiple ways to get the answer, and you can kind of create and figure different stuff out. So let's do this one first. Remember, you can put it over 1. Any number, any whole number, you can change it to a fraction by putting it over 1. And then we can multiply straight across. Remember, you don't have to have a common denominator when you multiply fractions. 3 times 2 is 6. Add a 0. So 3 times 20 is 60. 4 times 1 is 4. Alright. So 60 divided by 4 is going to be 15. Alright. So if you got 15 out of 20 problems, you got a 75%. What is 3/4 of 20? 15 is 3/4 of 20. Another way to do it is to multiply this. I think this way might be easier. Just do a placeholder 0 because we cancel that out. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry your 1. 2 times 7, 14, plus 1 is 15. Okay? The decimal's 2 places over there, so we need to make it 2 places over there. So 15.00, which is the same as 15. So this is 2 different ways to get the same answer. You can determine which way is easier. It's up. Alright, let's talk about a test problem. So Joe got 80% out of 25 problems correct on a test. So how many problems did he get correct? So what you got to do is you got to take 25 times 80%. So I'm going to take, there's two different ways to do it. Let's do 25 times 0.80, because remember you got to convert to a decimal. Whenever you're multiplying a percent by a number, you got to change it to a decimal first. Okay, 25 times 80, let's do a placeholder 0. 8 times 5 is 40, carry your 4. 8 times 2 is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, decimal's 2 places over. So that's 20.00, which is 20 points. He got 20 out of 25. Another way you can do it is 80% is 4/5. If you can memorize these, it'll be easy to convert. So let's take 4/5 times 25. Remember, any decimal, any whole number that you want to change to a fraction, you just put it over 1. 4 times 25 is 100. 5 times 1 is 5. Then you do top divided by bottom. 100 divided by 5 is going to be 20. So either way you look at it, Joe got 20 problems right on his test. Good job, Joe. 80%. He passed with a B. Let's do number 5. Let's say you go out to dinner and you want to give a 15% tip. Alright? Your bill, let's say your bill was, let's say, $35, and you want to give $35. Let's do $35, and the tip is 15%. A lot of time, I would only give 15% if I got really bad service. Most of the time, I give 20%. But I'm just pulling different numbers out so that we can practice this. So in this case, I wouldn't change that to a fraction. I think it would be easier to just take 15 times 35. So let's take 35 times 15% as a decimal. I'm definitely going to run out of room on this, so I'm going to write kind of small. Hopefully you can still see. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 3, 15, 17. Placeholder 0. So this is going to be 175 plus 350. I'm going to rewrite it over here because I don't want to run out of room. Okay, 3 plus 1 is 4 plus 5. So you're going to give $525. Wrong. Make sure you don't forget that if the decimal is 2 places to the left, that means you got to take the decimal 2 places to the left there. That makes a lot more sense, giving a $5.25 tip as opposed to a $525 tip. So be aware of this kind of stuff. Alright, so make sure you tip your waiters and waitresses. That's how they make their money. People don't want to work for free, and so it is important to tip your waiters and waitresses. Alright, you and your mom go to In-N-Out Burger and you buy some hamburgers and maybe a thing of fries. It costs around $10. So let's say $12. This is problem number 6, I think. So $12 for your food at In-N-Out. But when you pay for your food, you don't pay for exactly, you just don't pay $12. There's always tax added on, okay? So how do they determine how much you pay for tax? Well, I think in the city of Prescott, different cities and municipalities and states have different tax rates. So the sales tax rate for Arizona, in Prescott, Arizona, if you went to In-N-Out Burger, would be about 9%. So you're going to take, what is tax? What do you pay when the tax is 9%? Alright, so you're just going to take 12 times 9% to find out the sales tax. Now this isn't the end price. A lot of times people get mixed up between the end price and sales tax, and you'll see what I mean in a second. I'm going to take 12 times 0.9. What's wrong with what I just did? Well, 9% is what as a decimal? You got to move the decimal 2 places over, which would require placeholder 0. This would be a 90% sales tax. That's a huge sales tax. That means the government wants way too much money, which they already do anyway. So if we're going to take 9% and change that to a decimal point, you're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the left. So we're going to end up at 0.09. Alright? That is what you want to multiply the 12 by. 9 times 2 is 18. Carry your 1. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. Cancel, cancel. We're good. We don't have to multiply the 0 out. The decimal is 2 places over. So the government wants $1.08 on top of the $12. Now you're not going to pay your final price at when you check out of In-N-Out is not $1.08. That's how much the government tax on to the $12 that you're already paying for your burger. So for that burger, you pay $12, and then you're going to add $1.08. Okay. Notice when you're adding and subtracting, you do have to line up your decimal points. Multiplying and dividing, you do not. So I'm going to add some placeholder zeros to help me out here. 8 plus 0 is 8. 0 plus 0 is 0. And then 12 plus 1 is 13. So your final price is not $12, even though your hamburger costs $12. The government wants an extra $1.08 tacked on. So the restaurant will take your $1.08 and pay the government that money. So we can have roads and stuff and teachers and other things. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a couple problems off of homework, and I'll get back to you in just a second once I find one that is you might find difficult. Alright, number 7 says Yuki's bowling scores for 3 games is 126, 102, and 141. So 126, when you find the average, and this once you find the average, you have to add everything up first. That's step number 1. So you're going to take 126 plus 102 plus 141. Add those up. Real quick. That's 6, 9, 6, 3. Step 1, we've added them up. Step 2 is you take the number. He didn't bowl 369 in one game. That's not his average. That's just what he bowled for 3 games. So we're going to divide it by 3. We're going to take 369 divided by 3. The reason why I picked 3 to divide it by is because there are 3 numbers, or 3 games that Yuki, there's some unique names in this book, but we're going to divide that by 3. So let's go ahead and do that. So he's averaging 123, scoring 123 per game. Alright, let's do number 8. I like 8. 8 is great. What is the area of this rectangle? You have a rectangle. And you're going to take the length, which is 2.5 meters, if I remember correctly, and the width would be 2 meters. In order to find area, you have to take length times width. And our length is 2.5. Our width is 2. Multiply that out, you're going to have 5 meters squared. Okay? Easy stuff. Alright. Number 9, it says take these numbers and arrange them in order on a number line. Alright, so 0 is obviously right there. Negative 1, well, there is the only negative number, so that would be first. So negative 1, go first. 0 would go next. That's second. After that, you have 3 halves and 2 thirds. Oh, reciprocals. Let's try to figure out where these would go. 2 thirds would be right about there. This is 2 thirds. That is third. And then 3 halves. 3 halves reduces to 1 1/2. So 1 1/2 is right there. So that's fourth. So this is 2 thirds. This is 3 halves. Because 3 halves is the same as 1 1/2. Alright? Alright, so there's number 9.